Hey, what's going on? Justin here from Modern Mixing, and today I'm going to try to show you how I master this track with free plugins. So just a disclaimer first, I don't claim to be a mastering engineer, but I do try to get my levels as close to the competition as I possibly can. So in this case, that's exactly what I did. The only difference is in this case, I'm using a 2-track and I'm showing you with the 2-track. But I would normally do this in the session. That way I can kind of make tweaks as I'm going along. So if I add stuff to my mastering chain as I'm going along, if something's not sounding right with the vocals or the snare, I can always go in and edit that stuff. And then I'm not really handicapped by, just the 2-bus or just, a 2-track. Another thing to mention is that the reason why I'm not doing this one in Pro Tools is because there's so many really good free VSTs out there, and that's pretty much the only reason why I'm showing you this video in Sonar, because I just don't have the same flexibility to make the record sound the same based on the free tools that you can get with Pro Tools. So if you are using Pro Tools, you can try and use that that VST wrapper or whatever from FX Expansion, but I really can't guarantee that these plugins are going to work there. But yeah, anyways, other than that, let's get started. So the first plugin I used was the Ferric TDS, and there's a couple purposes for using this plugin. Just to give it a little bit more fill, so it kind of filled up the track a little bit. And I'm not talking anything overly dramatic, but just a little bit of texture. I used this dynamic section here. It seemed to tighten up the track a little bit and also make things a little bit brighter and help them stand out, like the lead synth on the chorus and somewhat of the drums a little bit. I used really fast attack recovery here. I guess this is the release. I used a really fast release. The attack is built into the plugin. I don't really know what it's set at because I haven't read the documentation, but it sounds like it's a slower attack, so it's not really doing anything to the transients, or at least anything that I can hear or notice. The next thing I did was the sidechain. I put it up just over halfway because I didn't want the lower end to affect what the compressor is doing. It didn't quite sound the same with it basically off, so that's why I have that set there. And also the other thing I'm using for this plugin, well, besides the saturation, just adds a little bit of color, but I'm using this input and this trim gain here so that I can sort of leave myself a little bit of headroom, because this thing was basically peaking at 0, maybe a little bit lower than 0, but close to it. And I'm going into an EQ after this, so I wanted to give myself some headroom so I could have some room to play with my boostings. I made it, well, I wouldn't say a dramatic boost, but it's pretty significant anyways. That's exactly why I did that. So what I can do is the before and after is going to be quite different. I guess I can level match it. Let's try and do that right now. Let's turn this on and we'll try and level match this. Alright, so that's close enough, and then I'll just turn it off and on and you'll see the difference. Alright, so if you listen closely, you can hear it just kind of bringing all the sounds a little bit closer together, so they're touching a little bit more, so they're not quite as separated. But you really have to listen closely. It's not doing much. Like I said, it's just a tiny bit of color and just a little bit of rounding off and making it a little bit beefier. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, like I said, the main thing I was trying to do was for the gain staging aspect of it, so I could bring the levels down so I could get into my EQ. Now, you could make the argument, well, why didn't you just turn the trim down? And like I said, I wanted to get a little bit of color, so that's why I use this plugin. So next was the Baxter EQ. There's only really one thing that I'm doing with this, and that's using this 1 dB here for the sides and then the shelf. So basically what I did was I engaged the mid-side mode, and you can see LMRS. So LR means left and right. So if this was turned off like this, all this stuff up here would be for the left speaker, or the left channel, if you however you want to call it, and then the R here would be for the right channel. So as soon as you turn this on, this acts as the middle and this acts as the sides, so mid-side. So that's why I use this, because I wanted to bring up some of the middle frequencies on the sides just to make them stand out a little bit, especially for that horn that comes in the chorus, because it's kind of that lead sound, it's that main thing, and it should be just a little bit more in your face. Plus it gives the impression that the stereo image is a lot wider by doing that. So yeah, so I boosted about 4.5 dBs at about 2.4 kilohertz, and that's a shelf, so it's 2.4 kilohertz and above. So let's listen to it before and after. So yeah, you can hear that horn, it has more of that mid-range presence, so it kind of stands out a little bit. And the track did kind of widen out a little bit. But yeah, and again, this plugin and the previous one, the Ferric, they're from Bootsy. I didn't mention this earlier, I should have, but I have an article that I've written, and these plugins there's links to those plugins in that article. So just click the link below, and then you'll get sent to that article, and then you can download these plugins if you want. The last one, this is probably the secret sauce for this whole chain here. I think this probably does the most work. It's probably doing about 70% of the sound that you hear. And it's basically a limiter, but what it's doing is it's adding a lot more to it. It's kind of like almost like an amplifier. It's adding some sort of tone and some sort of harmonic distortion. It's also rounding and tightening the whole track. It's doing something to the bottom end. I just can't really explain it. It's just tightening everything up, and then it's also adding some mid and high harmonics so that it sounds a little bit more exciting. It's a little bit brighter. And I'll try to volume match this one so you can hear the difference. It's quite dramatic, actually. So let's do that right now. Let's volume match. Just give me 1 second. So let's do before and after. So yeah, it really brings up that apparent volume, and it's not doing it in an overly damaging way. I mean, anytime you bring up the apparent volume and you squish the track, you're obviously going to be losing something. But yeah, so let me turn it up on full volume, and I'll do a quick before and after again with everything off and everything on. Yeah, just a nice smack in the face, like that kick in that bottom, and just really tightens up. It sounds really good. So yeah, so there you go. There's a quick little way that you can master your tracks. I mean, don't think this took me that long. It took me probably about an hour to do all this, just to kind of really tweak it and fine tune it. But yeah, so maybe you can try and use that, press your friends a little bit, make your tracks a little bit bigger and fuller and punchier than everybody else's. But yeah, so hopefully you learned something. Until next time, see you later.